Lessons for Living, Part 5. Change your mind, change your life. Savior Publication. Chapter 1. Happiness. Everyone in the world wants to be happy. Even the animals and birds want to be happy. People look for happiness in different ways. Everyone has his own way of making himself happy. There are people who help others because that makes them happy. There are others who collect money, who dance, who eat and drink, who study and write books, who struggle to be powerful, who try to control others, or who want to have a beautiful car or a big house because they want to be happy. There even are people who think they can become happy by making other people unhappy. There is a happiness institute in Australia. Their studies show that the secret of happiness is to decide to be happy. We can choose to be happy or sad, whether we are rich or poor. Everyone has the right to be happy. If you remember this, it will help you to do the right thing always. While you try to make yourself happy, you will not disturb anyone else's happiness. You will not block others from being happy. Some people talk badly about others, trying to make themselves happy. Do not be disturbed when people make bad comments about you. For example, you may have a new pair of shoes that you think are really beautiful. A friend says that shoes do not suit to you or are of poor quality. You do not like to hear such comments, but you should realize three things. The first is that your friends need not like exactly the same thing that you like. Every person has his own likes and dislikes. Your friend may be saying that to you because he has a different taste in shoes. Secondly, perhaps your friend is envious. Perhaps he is unhappy because he cannot have shoes like the ones you have. He wants to lessen his unhappiness by making you feel that your shoes are not special. Thirdly, something they will be happy by making others more unhappy than they are. Your friend sees you happy with those shoes. He wants to make you unhappy, thinking that will make him happy. You need not take negative comments of people too seriously. Try to understand the real reason for what they say. If you really need to change something in your behavior, to do so. You need not take negative comments of people too seriously. Try to understand the real reason for what they say. If you really need to change something in your behavior, do so. If the reason for the comments is bad, just ignore them and continue to be happy. There are people who are handicapped, poor, lonely, sick, etc. They also have the right to be happy. One must not make fun of them or be rude to them. That would make them even more unhappy. No human being is worthless. There is no one who does not have feelings. We can be happy by making use of every good opportunity that comes our way. We can enjoy good food, good clothes, and the company of friends. We can also enjoy ourselves by visiting new places, learning new things, caring for plants and animals, and by looking at beautiful things. God has given to each of us all that we need to make ourselves happy. We need to use all His gifts well. We make efforts to discover and develop the talents He has given us. We do this by learning all that we are taught and by practicing in all the activities organized at school, at home, and at our community. We do not become happy by making others unhappy. On the contrary, making others happy is one of the best ways of making ourselves happy. Truly great people like Mahatma Gandhi or Mother Teresa made great sacrifices to bring happiness to others. They are not only great, they are happy every day of their life. Even if we are poor, sick, or weak, we will be happy if at the end of the day we can honestly say that we have done nothing wrong that day and we did all the good we could. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. Mention at least 4 different ways in which people try to make themselves happy. B. Why should you remember that others want to be happy? C. If someone says something bad about us, what should we do? D. Why should we not make fun of others? E. How would you like to make yourself happy? F. Can you become happy by making others unhappy? G. What does a truly great and happy person do? 2. Choose from given answers. Whichever is the better thing for you to do. 1. You see a bird sitting on a branch and singing. A. You try to trap the bird. B. You throw stones at the bird. C. You do not disturb the bird. D. You listen and enjoy the singing of the bird. 2. The friend of yours tells someone in your class that you are a liar. A. You try to beat up that person. B. You avoid talking to that person. C. You tell someone else that he is a thief. D. You stay cool without reaching in any way. 3. You like a beautiful toy. Your parents cannot buy it for you. The next day, you find your friend with the toy. A. You say, it is really beautiful, I like it. B. You remain silent. C. You tell others that you don't like the toy. D. You ask him how much it cost him and then say, it is quite cheap. 4. A boy who has a defective leg wants to join you in playing cricket in the park. A. You tell him you cannot take more players. B. You give him only one chance to play. C. You take turns and allow him to play and as long as he enjoys playing with you. D. You try to throw him out as soon as possible. 3. Something to do. List all the things that you do to make yourself happy. Give an example from your experience or how you have made someone happy. 4. Something to think about. Different people do different things to make themselves happy. What makes me happy may not make others happy. 5. Something to summarize. Criticism, like rain, should be gentle enough to nourish a man's growth without destroying his roots. Chapter 2. Learning to appreciate. Everyone needs recognition for what he does. A child in school is happy when the teacher tells him, "Child, you have done well." When a boy gets good marks in the exam, he is happy if his father tells him, "I am proud of you, my son." Your mother is very, very happy when your father praises the food she has prepared. Do you praise others as your teacher or your father does? Do you ever praise and thank God for all that He has done for you? God, who created us, is wonderful. He is loving, caring, forgiving, and is always ready to help us. We never appreciate Him enough. We can begin to do so by talking to Him, listening to Him, worshipping Him, loving Him, and thanking Him for what we are and for all that we have. Imagine that you did every well. You did very well in a class test. You know you will get good marks. Imagine that your teacher just puts a tick mark and gives the answer sheet back to you without giving any marks. Or imagine that you stood first in the class. You show your progress card to your father. Your father just signs it and gives it back to you without saying anything. What would your reaction be? You would feel angry, sad, and dissatisfied. Appreciation makes us happy. It gives us a sense of satisfaction. We are happy when our father or our teacher shows us his appreciation. We must, in the same way, learn to appreciate the good things in others. Kushan Sharf was a Tibetan refugee. He married Nalomit Lepcha of Sikkim, and they had a son, Samjuk. In 1969, the mother and child lived at Kathmandu, while the father worked with the Tibetan refugees and Pokhara. When he came home in 1970, he spent some time with his family. He found his house empty. Serap started searching for his wife and child, but never found them. In 1972, he settled down in France, but he would come back to India and Nepal frequently to continue his search for his family. In 2004, he made the trip for the last time. Serap was by then 63 years old, but in all this while, he never remained. In all this while, he never remarried. He spent all his money looking for his wife and son. That was his way of showing his appreciation of them. We can show our appreciation of the people we love through our words of gratitude and praise. Appreciation can encourage a person greatly. Praise makes him happy and he wants to do more. He tries to improve on himself. One evening, a man and his wife were walking in the garden. He then said to her, "I always like the way you walk." "Goodness, I walk like anyone else," the wife thought. But from that day, every step she takes gives her special pleasure. She now walks happily and very beautifully. We also need to appreciate ourselves. There is nothing wrong in being proud of something good that we have done. It gives us a sense of satisfaction and makes us happy. It makes us want to do even better the next time. Exercise. Answer the following question. What happens when others appreciate you? When others appreciate what we do? B. How can we show our appreciation to God? C. What would you feel if no one appreciates your good work? D. How did Krishna show his appreciation of his wife and son? E. Why do we need appreciation from others? F. Do we need to appreciate ourselves? Say whether you agree with the following statements. A. I am happy when I get appreciation from others. B. I do not need to thank, praise, love, or worship God. C. I do not feel bad when my friend does not say anything for the beautiful birthday gift I give her. D. When we like something, it is important to say so. E. It is enough to thank someone in our heart and we do not need to say it out. F. I feel like improving my performance if someone says that I am doing well. 3. Something to do. Send a thank you card to someone whom you appreciate, to someone who has been kind and generous to you. For something to think about. It does not cost me anything to praise someone, but my praise brings great joy to the person and makes him do even better. Chapter 3. The value of time. Time is money. We can make more money by the good use of time. We cannot make more time by even the best use of money. Whatever time is lost cannot be regained, Whoever knows the value of time will not waste a single minute of it. One day, the secretary of George Washington, the first president of the US, came late to the office. The president asked his secretary, "Why are you late today?" The secretary replied, "Please excuse me, sir. My watch showed me the wrong time." The president told him, "You will have to change your watch, or I will have to change my secretary." The US is known to be the most developed nation in the world. The nation became great because the people there make good use of every single minute. It was difficult to the president to tolerate his secretary wasting his time. One may say that it is a matter of just a few minutes. A few minutes put together on many days makes a lot of time. Time is precious. We should always be punctual. Others may not be able to do what they need to do because we are not on time. When many people have to wait even a few minutes for us, they are altogether losing a lot of time because of us. We waste time when we sit around without doing anything. We also waste time when we postpone our tasks, when we gossip about others, and when we do things aimlessly and without proper planning. With time, everything is possible. The value of time is more than that of money. When we wake up in the morning, we have 24 hours in our hands that are still unused. They are our most precious possession. No one can steal these 24 hours from us. On the other hand, no one can have more than 24 hours a day. Great people who did wonderful things did not have extra hours each day. They just made good use of every minute they had. We may or we may not be punished for wasting time, but our life consists of our time, and when we have wasted our time, we have lost a part of our own life. Our success depends on the use of our time. Thomas Alva Edison, the man who made the first electric lamp, was only a telegraph operator with a small salary. He spent his free time experimenting with a lot of things. He became one of the most famous inventors of all time. What we do during our free time will benefit us greatly. It will help us know more and do more in life. Every minute we spend by making it useful makes us more happy. A minute that is lost never comes back again. Those who do not make good use of their time are aimless, unsuccessful, or worthless people. By killing time, they are destroying their own chances in life. A successful person makes his time fruitful by doing something useful or enjoyable. Something to remember. Little drops of water, little grains of sand makes a mighty ocean and a pleasant land. Thus the little minutes, humble though they be, make the mighty edge of eternity. Avenger C. Brewer. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. What did George Washington say to his secretary when he came late to the office one day? B. How do we waste time? C. Give three reasons why time is precious. D. How did Thomas Alva Edison spend extra time? E. What are the advantages of making a proper use of our time? F. Give some disadvantages of wasting time. Something to do. Make a daily timetable for yourself. Hang up the chart somewhere in your room. Look at your chart every day when you get up and try to follow your routine. So, something to think about. When I waste my time, I am throwing away a part of my own life. Chapter 4. Belittling others. Gajan Borua of Sanapatipara village in Assam studies up to class 10, but could not even sit for his board examinations because his father was too poor. He went to Guwahati and learned to make shoes. When he returned to his village and started working as a shoemaker, his neighbors made fun of him. He did not worry about what they said about him. He continued his work bravely. He lives with his widowed mother, wife, and son. Today, everyone appreciates the dignified life he lives, earning a decent living through his productive work. The bad habit of belittling others means thinking badly about others or having nothing good to say about others. A person who has his habit always finds faults with others. He has quarrels with others most of the time. He thinks that he is smart and clever. He tries to humiliate them. They will have very few friends. A belittler never speaks well of others. He does not want others to have good things. He sees only their mistakes. He is not blessed with anything. It is very difficult for such people to be successful in life. If anyone belittles us, we should not be discouraged. Instead, it should drive us to become even better. There was once a spiritual master. People considered him a man of God. They would come to him to seek his advice and to listen to his teachings. They believed everything he told them. There was one person in the crowd who never missed a chance to say something against the master. He would point out the master's weakness or mistakes and make fun of him in front of everyone. The other disciples did not like him. One day, this bad man got ill and died. Everyone was happy. They knew that there would no longer be anyone to disturb and criticize the inspiring talks of the teacher. They thought that the master too would be happy. But the teacher was very sad. One of his followers asked him, "Why are you mourning his death? There is no one to oppose you now." The teacher replied, "I do not feel sad for someone who has gone to heaven. I am only sad for myself. There will be no one to correct and challenge me. The opposition of this man made me grow. He made me serious about my teaching. He made me prepare well for each talk. There is no one now to take his place." The teacher used to have a strong reason to improve on his teaching because the man would oppose him if he did not teach well. His criticisms had helped him change for the better. If we do not get hurt easily, we can learn something more from criticism we get from others. One must not belittle others. Perhaps we do it because we are envious of their achievements. When we are envious, we are limiting our own joy. Whether someone is better than we are or not, we must learn to appreciate all the good he does. We will then be increasing our joy. We will be a great friend, a great son or daughter, and we will be helping others to spread happiness on earth. Exercise. Answer the following questions. What do you mean by belittling others? Describe the behavior of a belittler. What could be reasons why someone belittles something we have? What should we do when someone belittles us? Why was the teacher sad when the man who opposed him died? Something to do. Look at the companion sitting on the right of you in class. Write down on a piece of paper as many good things about him as you know. Give this paper to him when you have finished. Something to think about. I do not become greater or more successful by finding fault with others. Instead, even I myself become happier if I say good things about someone else. Chapter 5. Cleanliness of the mind. Noble deeds are a result of a clean mind. Having a clean mind makes keeping away thoughts that may harm others as well as ourselves, and filling our mind with positive thoughts. Thoughts of jealousy, envy, anger, or revenge, thoughts that judge others, lower our self-esteem, lower our self-confidence, etc., are negative or unclean. Sympathy, acceptance of ourselves and others, happy and loving thoughts are all examples of positive thoughts. Cleanliness of the mind is a must if we want to be healthy and develop noble qualities. It is wrong to think of a person as bad, selfish, or proud by merely looking at him. We should not judge others because this can create a feeling of hatred and enmity. We should not think of harming others. Bad thoughts lead to bad actions. When we think of harming others, we may also end up harming ourselves. There was once a terrorist. As he was afraid of the police, he never told anyone, not even his family members, of all that he used to do. His leaders asked him to be ready to bomb a certain government office. They gave him some hand gardeners, and a large bomb. He hid them away under a lot of other things that were stored in the garage of his house. He was waiting for the day when he would have to use them. One day, his son was playing hide and seek with his friends. During the game, he went to hide himself in the corner of the garage. There he found the hand grenades. He did not know what they were. He picked up a few of them and went to show them to his friends. While trying to understand what they were, the boy pulled out the pin from one of them. The grenade exploded in his hands, killing him and two of his companions. When the news reached the terrorist, he ran back home. It was already too late. His son was dead. In the depth of despair, he cried out, I want to kill some others. I have ended up killing my son, my own son. God has punished me for my sins. If you think of doing something but you have the feeling that it is wrong, then remove the thought of doing it from your mind. It is wrong to use bad language when others do us harm. Instead, we ignore their actions and do not think of taking revenge on them. Thoughts of revenge will only disturb our peace of mind and make us sad. We must try to remove all jealous and envious thoughts and learn how to be happy for others. We do many things well. We may talk to people a lot about our success, but generally we think secretly much more about our failures than about our successes. Our negative thoughts prevent us from doing well, from doing all we can do. Our thoughts may prevent us from doing something good. Sometimes we feel shy. We think we cannot do something that our parents or teachers ask us to do. We are afraid we will make mistakes and our companions will laugh at us. These are negative thoughts that will never allow us to grow. We must think that we are capable. People love us because we are worth loving. These are positive thoughts that should fill our mind if we are to live successfully. Exercise. Answer the following questions. How does the mind become unclean? What did the terrorist want to do? What happened to the terrorist's son? Write down 3 ways in which you can keep your mind clean. What positive thoughts can help us live successfully? What thoughts may prevent us from doing what our teachers ask us to do? Something to do. Make a list of all things you are able to do. Make a list of all the things your friend does well. Give them list to him. Something to think about. Every good action starts with a good thought. Every good action starts with a good thought. Every bad action starts with a bad thought. I must try to fill my mind always only with good thoughts. Chapter 6. Gratitude. God has given us a wide variety of great gifts. Chapter 6. Gratitude. God has given us a wide verily God has given us a wide variety of great gifts. We can learn to do many things well. Many people help us in different ways and make us happy. There are 3 directions in which our gratitude must go: gratitude towards God, gratitude towards others, and a grateful attitude towards ourselves. We thank God when we pray to Him. The best way to show our gratitude to God is to make good use of all the gifts He has given us. All that we learn at school or at home helps us to develop the powers that God has given to our body, mind, and heart. To be grateful to others is to show appreciation for who they are and what they do. We say thanks to them for what they do for us. We try to learn well all that they teach us. We do all that they ask us to. Sachin Tendulkar speaks of his parents, Ramesh and Rajni, with gratitude. He remembers that when he started living with his uncle, they would travel 2 hours every day to come and spend at least half an hour with him. He says, at the time, At that time, it did not really seem much to me. I suppose it's only later in life that such moments are remembered remembered as priceless. We shall not make the mistake Sachin made. We will see right now the love our parents have taught us and show them our love in return. We have a grateful attitude towards ourselves is to think about ourselves with appreciation. It means to think about what is good in us rather than what is lacking in us. Even what seems like a simple thing is actually wonderful if we discover all that is good in it. Once a man was trying to put a nail on the wall of his house. He hit his thumb by mistake and got hurt. To have a grateful attitude towards ourselves is to think about ourselves with appreciation. It means to think about what is good in us rather than what is lacking in us. Even what seems even what seems like a simple thing is actually wonderful if we discover all that is good in it. Once a man was trying to put a nail on the wall of his house. He hit his thumb by mistake and got hurt. A friend of his said to him, "I am sorry, that's too bad." But the man said, "It is the best thing that has ever happened to me. Earlier I never thought of my thumb. Now I realize its very great importance." To make use of many things like our thumb without seeing how wonderful they are. We take notice of them only when we lack them and it affects our life. We do not realize the importance of good health until we fall sick. We count our defects and weaknesses more than our qualities. We complain about things that are not even defects. For example, we may complain about the color of skin, the shape of our nose, and the texture of our hair. We may not even think of all that we can do with our body and mind. We may also try to find the defects of our brain and the mistakes of our parents and teachers instead of appreciating the good about them. Imagine that you want to get 5 things. You get 4 of them, but do not get the fifth. You may even cry over that one thing that you could not get. This is a wrong attitude. We should be happy with the great success we had. We ought to concentrate on what is good in us and the fine things we have. This will make us happier. We can start by thinking how lucky we are to have hands to work with, legs to work with, eyes to see with, a body that functions perfectly, and to have come into this world to enjoy the wonderful things in life. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. What are the 3 directions in which our gratitude must go? B. What is the best way to show our gratitude to God? C. What does Sachin Tendulkar say about his parents? D. How do we show our teachers and parents that we are grateful? E. How did the man begin to appreciate his thumb? F. What are some of the things we usually complain about? G. Why should we concentrate on the good things we have? 2. Something to do. A. Make a thanks list of all people, things and personal qualities for which you are grateful. Many of the items may be things you take for granted, such as eyesight, health, the gardener, the postman. Read out this list to 3 of your classmates. B. Form group of 6. Let one person sit in the center. All group members will say what they like about the person in the center. Take turns to sit in the center. 3. Something to think about. I can never thank God, my parents, and my teachers enough for all they have given me. The best way to be grateful to learn all they teach and to love and obey them. Chapter 7. Handicaps. Dhaval Khatri was a student of Lotus High School, Ahmedabad, and wrote his board examinations in 2005. But Dhaval has no hands. He writes holding a pen between the stumps of his two hands. In 2003, he was celebrating Uttarayan Dhokka with his friends when he touched a kite thread that was entangled on a live wire. His hands were amputated at the elbows. Under the inspiration of his mother, Dhaval took 3 months to learn to hold a pen with the stumps of his hands. He was expecting to score 60 to 70% in the exams. Jagannath Mahato of West Bengal has done one better. He wrote his undergraduate examinations holding his pen between his toes because he does not have hands. A handicap is a mental or physical disability. Those who are lame, deaf, blind, dumb, or with brain injuries are said to be handicapped because they cannot do all that other people can do, or not as easily as normal people can do them. Some people are born handicapped with others, like Dhaval Khatri become handicapped due to accidents or error or illness. People have such disabilities not because they want them. It is, therefore, not fair to make fun of them and be rude to them. We show kindness towards them. They like to be loved and cared for as anyone of us does. Out of respect for the difficulties they face today, we do not even call them handicapped. We say they are challenged. If by any chance you happen to be handicapped, that should not prevent you from doing what you really want to. You should not feel discouraged. All human beings, whether handicapped or not, have their own problems. Everyone faces difficulties in life. Secondly, if you are handicapped in one way, God will have blessed you with many other strengths that other people do not have. Thirdly, there are so many things you can do even if one or more of your faculties are damaged in one way or another. We can always find happiness in life by doing those things. There are many handicapped people who have done well and become great in life. On May 16, 2004, Nawan Sherpa reached the top of Mount Everest. In July 2000, he had been knocked down by a bus and his left leg was amputated from the knee down. He used his artificial leg to climb to the top of the world. Christopher Ravi died on October 10, 2004, 9 years after being crippled in a horse riding accident. He had become famous playing Superman in the movies. A strong, healthy, young and handsome man like Ravi could not have had a greater tragedy than that of being totally paralyzed. He faced the challenge and became an even greater hero in real life by spending the remaining years of his life raising funds for disabled people. On November 6, 2004, among the awards given by the Telegraph was one of Purnima Pramanik, a student of Greenfields School, who was born spastic and is mentally challenged. She has no father. Her mother works as an ayah to bring up her 3 daughters. Purnima limits herself mostly to smiling and nodding her head because it takes her great efforts to speak. She cannot get up from her wheelchair and struggles to move her fingers, but she does beautiful embroidery. Ritu Rawal got paralyzed when she was 3 years old. After she got brain fever, after passing out of her college in Delhi University, she did a course in fashion designing. She became a choreographer and later, after producing several TV serials, she became the owner of a TV production company. All these people were not discouraged from learning, growing and achieving success and happiness in life in spite of their misfortune. The problems or obstacles most of us have are far smaller than what these people and millions of others faced and overcome. We thank God for His blessings and comfort our little difficulties with a cheerful spirit. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. Who is a handicapped person? B. Why should we be kind to the handicapped? C. Why should you not get discouraged if by chance you are handicapped? D. What is the special achievement of Naman Sherpa? E. Who was Christopher Ravi? What happened to him? How did he spend the last years of his life? F. What does Purnima Pramanik do though she can hardly move her fingers? G. Who was Ritu Rawal? What did she do? Something to do. Arrange for a visit to a rehabilitation center for the handicapped or invite a handicapped person to the class. Let the children have an informal chat with the person to find out how he feels, the type of work he does, etc. Read about Helen Keller. 3. Something to think about. I should not make myself handicapped by thinking that I cannot do something that I am actually able to. This may happen because I am too shy or I am lazy. Chapter 8. Being true to one's word. Being true to one's word means acting according to what one says. A good person never breaks his word nor makes promise that he does not intend to fulfill. He is faithful to whatever he says. A faithful person has respect for others. He is usually truthful and sincere in whatever he does. Loyalty in a person shows that he is well brought up. He is respected and regarded well by people. Being untrue to our word breaks the trust others have in us. It can hurt people, especially our friends. We would be cheating ourselves and others, and we could lose even our best friends. Once upon a time, there was a king. People loved him for his kindness. They considered him a good and loving king. One day, the king decided to extend his kingdom by conquering some of the neighboring territories. He called the people to his court and told them of his plan. He asked them for their help. He promised to reward them with land in the new territories or with money. If they succeeded, the king needed men for the battle. The people agreed to help the king fight the battle. The battle was fought and won by them. As the king was about to distribute the rewards, his queen stopped him, saying, Your Highness, why should you lose so much of your wealth? They cannot force you to give them anything. The king did as his queen told him. The people felt betrayed. After a few years, the neighboring king decided to win back the territories he had once lost. He built up his army and was ready for the battle. He declared war and attacked with all his force. The king had no choice but to turn to his people again. He made the same promise. The people agreed to join him in the battle, but only out of fear. When the battle began, the people retreated without putting up any resistance. They lost the battle and the territories were gone. The king was upset and asked the people why they had not put up a fight. One of them answered, "It was because we are not sure whether you would keep your promise." This is what happens when we do not keep one's word. This is what happens when one does not keep one's word. It is not always easy to keep one's word. It takes courage, patience, determination, and sometimes sacrifice to remain loyal. Arun and Kiran were great friends in a village in Himachal Pradesh. Everyone in the school knew about their friendship and admired them for the way they loved each other and helped each other always. There was one big difference between Arun and Kiran. Arun belonged to a very rich family, whether Kiran was born a very poor family. Both the boys wanted to study medicine and become doctors. Arun made a promise to Kiran that no matter what happened, he would make sure that Kiran could complete his studies. Arun was admitted into a college in Uttar Pradesh, where Kiran, unfortunately, was allotted a seat in Tamil Nadu. Arun promised to send him a sum of money every month. Kiran promised to study hard and to avoid coming home from holidays during the entire period of 4 years to minimize expenses. Unfortunately, during the very first year of medical college, Arun's father fell seriously ill. They had no medical insurance. The family spent all their savings and then began selling their property piece by piece, while they took the father to various hospitals all over India. By the second year, the family could not afford any more to give money to Arun to send to Kiran. Arun wrote to Kiran about his father's illness, but never told him that they had now become poor. He had made a promise and he was determined to keep it. Every day after his classes in the medical college, while his companions rested or studied, he would go out and do whatever work he could find, sometimes even as a coolie. He saved every rupee he earned and never failed to spend the required amount to Kiran. He did his work faithfully, month after month, for nearly 3 years. It is not always easy to be true to our word. If we are able to do it, we can consider ourselves great and noble. We will always be respectable by people. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. How can one be true to one's word? B. What harm can be done by not keeping our word? C. Describe the relationship of the king with his people at the beginning of the story. D. Why did the king want the help of his people the second time? E. Why did the king betray the people? F. Write the story of Arun and Kiran. G. Do you think Kiran will love Arun for the rest of his life? Why? 2. Say whether the following statements are true or false. A. Being true to one's word shows respect for others. B. It is always easy to do whatever we promise. C. The people betrayed the king because he kept his promise. D. Arun made no sacrifice to keep his promise. E. One who keeps his promise is a noble person. F. A loyal person is respected by his friends. 3. Something to do. Divide the class into groups of 5 or 6. Ask each group to write a simple story of being true to one's word. 4. Something to think about. People remember the promises we make. I should promise only what I really intend doing. Chapter 9 Religion. Different people use different names of God. All of them want to be a friend of God and have His help and blessings. In order to keep this contact and be on good terms with God, people follow certain practices. These practices and beliefs from what we call a religion. These practices and beliefs form what we call a religion. People have different ways of relating with God. In our country itself, we see various religious practices. Let us study just a little about some of them. Hinduism. It is an ancient religion followed by the vast majority of Indians. The followers of Hinduism are called Hindus. They worship God under various names. Some of these names are Lord Rama, Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna, Lord Ganesh, etc. The place of worship of the Hindus is called a temple. Islam. The followers of Islam are called Muslims. Islam is widely followed by many people all over the world. Allah is the name Muslims used for God. The founder of this religion was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The mosque is the place of worship for the Muslims. Christianity. This religion was started around 2000 years ago. Lord Jesus Christ was the founder of this religion. His followers are called Christians. Christians believe that Jesus Christ was God and rose from the dead after he was put to death by his enemies. This religion is also widely followed all over the world. The Christians go to a church to worship and to perform religious rituals. Buddhism. Gautama Buddha is said to have received enlightenment under a tree at Bodh Gaya in Bihar. He is the founder of Buddhism. His followers are called Buddhists. This religion is followed mostly in East and Southeast Asia. The great teachers of the Buddhist religion are called Lamas. Lamas are said to be reminiscence of the Buddha or of other great Lamas of the past. Renaissance. They believed in attaining salvation through enlightenment. This enlightenment can be achieved through prayer, meditation, sacrifice, etc. The Buddhists use temples as their place of worship. Sikhism. Guru Nanak Dev, 1469 to 1539, was born at Kalabandi, now Nankana Sahib, about 65 kilometers from Lahore, now in Pakistan. He founded Sikhism. His teachings are based on the slogan, work hard, share your earnings and recite the name of God. Guru Nanak believed in the oneness of God and the equality and brotherhood of all men. He worked to remove religious differences and quarrels between people. The followers of Sikhism are called Sikhs. The Sikhs live mainly in Punjab, Haryana, Jammu and Kashmir, and in parts of Sindh, now in Pakistan. Tribal religion. There are people belonging to different tribes all over the world. All tribes do not have the same way of worship, but the most common among tribal religions is known as animism. They believe that everything on earth, be it animals, trees, mountains, rivers, rocks, etc., has a soul. It is also common among them to worship the spirit of their ancestors. The festivals, rituals, and ceremonies of tribals are performed mainly to honor their souls and spirits. These practices, however, differ from place to place and from tribe to tribe. Tribals are found in almost all the states of India except Punjab and Haryana. Jainism. Jainism was founded by Lord Mahavira. The followers of religion are Jainis. They believed in ahimsa, which means respect for all forms of living beings. Different religions have different ways of worshipping God. They all teach us to worship God, who is the supreme being, who is above everything and everyone in this world. The basic principles regarding behavior among people are almost the same in all religions. All religions teach us to love, respect, and help one another. No religion tells us to harm or hate others. A person's relationship with God is close when a person practices his rituals earnestly, obey the teachings of the religion, obey the teachings of his religion, and lives in peace and love with everyone around him. We must remember that all religions teach good things. We respect the followers of all religions. We respect their places of worship, their methods of prayer, and their rituals. We love, care for, respect, and help all other human beings, whatever religions they may follow. It is only thus that our own rituals and practices can accomplish the task of bringing us in close control with God. Answer the following questions. What is religion? Name the different religions you know in your country, in our country. Which religion do you follow? Write 4 lines about your religion. What do all religions teach? How do we behave towards people who practice religions other than our own? When is a person said to be close to God? Something to do. Collect symbols of various religions. Arrange them beautifully on a poster. Write on it, all good people worship God and respect all human beings. So, something to think about. All human beings are children of God. I cannot love God and at the same time hate other people. Something to memorize. I will never know how to worship until I know how to love. Chapter 10. Ways of communicating with God. Men are not meant to live alone. It is for this reason that God has created many people and things around us. We can be happy only when we have a good relationship with people. Communication brings us closer to one another. We feel close to our parents because we are always in contact with them. We tell them of what we do and what we want. We share with them our feelings. We listen to what they say. We also keep contact with many others whom we love and care about. In order to be fully happy, we need to communicate not only with fellow human beings, but also with God. There are many ways of doing so. We can talk and listen to Him throughout prayer. Listen to Him through prayer. When we pray, we thank God for all His blessings. We praise Him for His greatness. We tell Him our worries and troubles. We tell Him about all we think and do, just as we do with our parents and friends. We ask forgiveness for whatever wrong we have done. We ask Him for His help and blessings. Murali Kartik, the cricketer, says, while in the middle of the game, I pray for the team to do well. It does not matter whether I am bowling or not. My conversation with God is on. Besides invoking God when I meet Him, I also make special time to share a dialogue with Him every morning and every evening. This is one routine I have not broken, no matter what part of the world am I. No matter what part of the world I am in. When we speak with God, we remove all other thoughts from our mind. We let our mind rest and listen to Him in silence. We can remind ourselves of Him by reading holy books and reflecting on them. We may pray alone or together with others by singing hymns and saying prayers together. Even to think about Him while taking a walk could be a prayer. We may pray in different ways. We may follow whichever way we find best for us. What is important is the peace of mind we get through talking to God. Many private companies, even government offices, have introduced prayer and meditation for their employees. Industrialist Horst Notia says, our workers have been practicing yoga and meditation for some time now. They are more focused and less stressed out. Regional Provident and Fund Commissioner Dr. Mahendra Raju lays his staff in prayer. He concludes by telling them, write a paragraph to God. That's your homework for tomorrow. When communicating with God, it is not enough to tell God whatever we want to. We must also let Him speak to us. We should from time to time keep silent and listen to what He has to say. Then our communication becomes complete. He does speak to us in the silence of our hearts. He will show us the way if we listen to Him with great attention. Exercise 1. Answer the following questions. A. Why do we feel close to our parents? B. What should we do in order to remain close to God? C. How often does Muralika pray? D. What do we do when we pray? E. In what ways can we communicate with God? F. How can we meditate? G. How can we know that God is speaking to us? 2. Something to do. Organize a prayer session in class. Begin with a few moments of silence, listening. 3. Something to think about. If I do not meet and talk with a friend for a long time, I begin to forget him. I will forget God if I do not talk to Him often. Chapter 11. Friendship. To have a friendship means that we enjoy doing things with Him. Friendship is possible only if two people like each other. We may like someone very much, but if he does not like us, it is not easy to become friends with him. Others cannot force us to like them. We cannot force anyone to like us. But if we are kind and friendly to others, they generally appreciate us and become our friends. Usually, the more we know about someone, the more we like him. There is a feeling of closeness among friends. We care for each other and are ready to share what we have. We may share our games, toys, work, etc. We also share our love, joy, sorrows, and hardship. We may even share our clothes, money, books, and other belongings with our friends. Friendship has no meaning if one does not accept the other. When we are friends with someone, we are not worried about his appearance, nor about the color of his skin, the religion he believes in, the caste he belongs to, the place he was born at, the language he speaks at home, etc. We do not let our friends feel left out when they are with us. There is a sense of responsibility and a spirit of sacrifice in friendship. We feel responsible for taking care of each other. We may sacrifice our time, money, or even our life for our close friends. We are not envious of what a friend has or what he can do. We feel happy about his achievements. We may try to do better than our friends in games, study, or work, but we always help them also to do their best. A friend is someone we can trust. We are not afraid of telling our secrets to him. A true friend will not make use of what he knows about us to do harm to us. True friends are loyal to each other. They know each other's weakness and mistakes, but they speak to others only good things about each other. Man cannot live alone. Everyone needs someone to talk to keep company with, to share his joy and sorrow with. We need to feel that someone likes us. The people in our family love us. But we also need friends. A selfish, dishonest, proud and rude person is not liked by anyone. Such people are always lonely. They have no friends. We can be friends with many people. Our closeness to them will vary. We will be friendly to all, close to some, and intimate with a few. We call these few our best friends. We can also be a friend of the poor, the handicapped, or the aged. All we need to do is to be kind and polite to them and love them as they are. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. What does having a friend mean? B. Can we force someone to like us? C. How do friends express their feelings of closeness between them? D. What do we do when we trust someone? E. Why is acceptance important in friendship? F. What kind of people are usually lonely and disliked? G. How many friends can we have? Something to do. Sing a song. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. Something to think about. I like to have many friends. If I like many people will like me. Chapter 12. Dangerous Friendships. On November 14, 2003, five teenagers studying in plus 2 at Mettur in Tamil Nadu stabbed and killed a class 10 student. On April 5, 2004, the police arrested four deaf and mute students at Kahilipada in Assam because they had stolen a car. Probably none of the above students would have done what they did if he had been alone. They did it because they were in a group of friends. One of them must have got the bad idea and the others accepted it and went along with him in carrying it out. Many people misunderstand the idea of friendship. It is usually thought that we need to believe whether a friend says. Some people think that we need to do anything and everything that a friend asks us to do. Some feel obliged towards friends and try to do things that they cannot do or should not do. We need not do whatever a friend asks of us if we think it is bad. It is not compulsory to trust whatever a friend says. We have a mind of our own to think with. We find out for ourselves that is good and bad, and we do only what we know is the right thing to do. There was a boy of 12 years named Ranjit in a small town. One day, he and his friends went to the riverside for a picnic. The boys went into the river for a swim. Ranjit did not join his friends because he did not know how to swim. He sat on the bank watching the others swim and play in the water. Suddenly Ranjit saw one of the boys struggling in the middle of the river. Ranjit took off his clothes and plunged into the river. Since he could not swim, he was soon drowning. He was soon drowning. He wept and shouted for help. No one noticed Ranjit's situation and he drowned. This was indeed a foolish act of heroism and sacrifice on the part of Ranjit. There is no doubt that people admired his sense of sacrifice, but Ranjit knew that he could not swim. It was stupid of him to try to do something that was beyond his capacity. It is wise to know ourselves well and do what we can for our friends. It is not necessary to take full responsibility for everything and try to do things that we know we cannot do or should not do. Roma stole a set of pens from her classmate. She asked Pooja, a friend of hers from another class, to hide the pens for her. Pooja agreed to do it because they were friends. Later, the teacher found out what had happened. He told the school authorities about it, and both Roma and Pooja were severely punished. Pooja should not have done what her friend asked her to do. She should have told Rama that it was wrong to steal the pen, even if it meant breaking her friendship with her. Such friendship brings us harm. We are encouraged to do evil. It is better that we stay away from such friends. A good friend always helps us to do what is good for us and for others. Anyone who makes us do something that is bad cannot be considered a friend at all. We would call him an enemy. But now we know a lot about what is good and what is bad. We should have the courage to say no when someone who is supposed to be our friend asks us to do something wrong. It may happen that a friend asks you to do something. You do not know whether it is good or bad. We should then ask our parents or teachers about it. For example, if a friend makes you eat or smell something and it suddenly makes you feel strange or different, there is a possibility that you are doing something that could be dangerous for you. Ask your parents or teachers about it before you do it a second time. We need not also waste time unnecessarily. We need not also waste time uselessly just because a friend is around. We must make time to work, play, and do other things with our friends. But we also know when it is time for us to study or do our little tasks at home. We know when we need to return to our own duties. Exercises. Answer the following questions. It is necessary to do whatever our friends ask of us. Is it necessary? Why did Ranjit not join his friends for the swimming? What did Ranjit see in the middle of the river? What happened to Ranjit when he went into the water to help his friends? Why was Rama and Pooja severely punished? When is friendship said to be harmful? When you are not sure whether what your friend asks you to do is good or bad, what should you do? Something to do. Discuss with these ways of behaving are wrong and harmful. Tom and Alfred are very good friends. One day, they exchange gifts and make a promise to each other that they will always help each other whether it is for a good or a bad cause. B. I know a good girl in my neighborhood. My friend told me that this girl is a liar, so I started avoiding her. C. A friend of mine was badly in need of money for his father's medical treatment. I took some money for my mother's purse without telling her and gave it to my friend. Dennis had to complete his homework, but his friend came to visit him, so he did not do this homework in order to spend time with his friend. Something to think about. Someone who gets me into difficulties cannot be my friend. It is better that I avoid him. Chapter 13. Honesty is the best policy. Honesty is a divine virtue. To be honest is to be true in whatever we do or say. It also means getting things for ourselves only through the right ways, not by stealing or cheating. It is not easy to be honest, but it is always good to be honest, no matter how hard it is. Honesty brings us peace of mind. We will live in peace with everyone, and above all, we will have peace within ourselves. Our desire to have many things may tempt us to follow the easier path of being dishonest. We will live in peace with everyone, and above all, we will have peace within ourselves. Our desire to have many things may tempt us to follow the easier path of being dishonest, but this will lead us to trouble. We will not be at peace. Suppose a person steals a toy. He always looks for ways and means not to get caught. Once he starts telling lies, he has to tell more and more of them till he gets caught. So dishonesty brings us trouble. The fun, money or things we get by dishonest means never lasts. Dishonesty may isolate a person. Once we are dishonest, people will not Once we are dishonest, people will not trust us again. When we are grown up, if we steal or are dishonest in other ways, we could even be put in prison. It takes courage to be honest. Honesty is admired by all, but sometimes it causes humiliation and loss. Lasting peace can only be attained if we are honest. We do not have to worry about getting caught or being punished if we are always honest. Once, when Gandhiji was a student, he was asked a question in the class by teacher. He did know the correct answer. A boy who was sitting just behind him prompted him the answer, but Gandhiji refused to repeat the answer and chose to remain standing in the class. Gandhiji's behavior is an example of honesty even when it means getting punishment and sanction humiliation. He did not know correct answer. The boy who was sitting just behind him prompted him the answer. Gandhiji's behavior is an example of honesty even when it means getting punishment and facing humiliation. He knew his teacher would punish him and his friends would laugh at him. He chose not to answer because giving the answer that his friend told him meant cheating himself and the teacher. On 23rd October 2003, Muhammad Hussain received a check for rupees 100 and a Citizens Award from the city of Chicago, $100. Mr. Hussain was a computer science graduate from Osmania University and left Hyderabad for the USA in 2001 looking for a job. Due to various problems, he had to become a taxi driver in Chicago. Hussain's taxi was hired by two men to be dropped off at a hotel. He did not know that one of these men was the famous Anthony Camargo, who designed special jewelry for people like Jennifer Lopez, Britney Spears, Cameron Diaz, Laura Bass, etc. When Hussain reached back home that evening, he found a bag of precious jewelry in the trunk of his car. He guessed that the jewelry belonged to the two men he had taken to the hotel. He went back there and returned the bag to them. The two men were surprised and pleased to get back the expensive jewelry. Since Hussain refused to accept any money from the two men, they informed the hotel manager and the Chicago police about what had happened. the police nominated him to receive one of only two medals that the city gives out each year to outstanding taxi drivers. It is because of his honesty that many people remember Gandhiji even today. It was due to his honesty that Hussein was given money and honor by the city of Chicago. We can expect him to become a great person one day. They will be excellent examples for many people throughout the ages. We can also be like them by being honest in all our dealings. Honesty will be the stepping stone to greatness one day. Exercise. Answer the following question. Why is the greatest blessing that honesty brings? Why does it take courage to be honest? Why did Gandhiji choose not to answer? Why was Muhammad Hussein given an award by the city of Chicago? Why should we not follow the easy path by being dishonest? Something to do. Act out the incident from Muhammad Hussein's life. 3. Something to think about. Even if no one else knows of our dishonesty, we cannot be fully happy because we know we have done wrong. Chapter 14. Selflessness. When we give or do something for others without expecting anything in return, we are being selfless. Selflessness means not thinking about ourselves, seeing instead to the welfare of others. It is a virtue to be selfish. It is a virtue to be selfless. P. Kalyan Sudambaram of Chennai had always wanted to become a professor, but he had a soft voice. He realized that his students would not be able to hear him properly, so becoming a teacher was not the right thing to him to do. He became a librarian. In 1962, there was a war between India and China. Kalyan Sudharam was 22 years in age. He went to the chief minister for his state and donated all his jewelry to the war fund. When he retired in 1998, he had savings of rupees 35 lakh. He donated the whole of it to help people. He now lives earning rupees 20 a day ironing clothes for the people of his neighborhood. Being selfless need not mean doing something big or great, which only powerful and rich people can do. It is enough to do the little things that we can for others. Mother Teresa, who spent her life working selflessly in the service of the poor, once said, "We cannot do great things on this earth, we can only do small things with love." One can be selfless in many ways. We can be selfless by sharing what we have with others. We can be selfless by being kind, by helping, loving, and wishing good things for others. We feel happy when we do something good or good for others. It gives us a sense of satisfaction. In 2004, 30 students of Indian Institute of Management (IIM) at Ahmedabad started taking turns to teach the children in the slums in their neighborhood. They do this just 1 hour a day to teach them to read and write. 18 students of Salesian College in Dimapur, Nagaland, do the same. 12 years old Ashna Lucas of Port Blair took on the task of teaching the children who were left homeless by the tsunami of December 2004. 66-year-old Jaydev Desai is a project manager in a private engineering firm in New Jersey in the USA. In his spare time, he collects donations and sells gift cards to raise money to help poor people in India. He gets 5 cents for every dollar or gift cards he sells. Since 1975, he has collected and donated $235,000 to various charitable institutes in India. We never lost anything by giving or sharing what we have with others. The more selfless we are in giving or in helping, the more we receive. The more peace and love we bring into the lives of others, the more of them we bring into our own. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. When is one said to be selfless? B. Write 3 ways in which you can be selfless. C. In what way are the students of Salesian College selfless? D. Why was it not right for Kalyan Sundaram to become a professor? E. Describe in 2 sentences how Kalyan Sundaram lives. F. Which action can be called acts of selflessness? G. What does Jaydev Desai do with the money he raises by selling gift cards? Something to do. Write a simple story about a selfless person you have known. B. As a class, do an act of selfless service to someone. 4. Something to think about. The more I give, the more I get. There is great pleasure in helping others. Chapter 15. Respect for authority. There are laws so that everything in our society may function smoothly. Laws and regulations prevent confusion. They ensure order in our life. Every country has its laws. Every organization, whether it is a school, a club, political party, or the army, has its own rules and regulations. They make rules according to the need to make our life peaceful, easy, and happy. Some people are given the responsibility to see that everyone obeys the laws. Laws help us to do the right thing at the right time, in the right place, in the right way. If there were no laws, everyone would do whatever he liked. There would be disorder everywhere. Time and money would be wasted uselessly. In the absence of proper laws, there would be confusion as to who is to do what. People would always be in tension and they would not feel safe to move about. There would be more crime and inequality in society. The stronger and richer ones would have all the advantage and exploit the others. Laws are made for everyone. Also, those in authority have to obey the rules made for everyone. They have, in fact, to give good examples to the others of complete respect for the law. There are also rules on how to apply the laws. They have to follow these rules. They are expected to be impartial and avoid favoritism. Our parents and elders have authority over us. We obey them. They may also be in position of authority in our town or state. We would be doing wrong if we were to ask them to do favors for us that they are not supposed to. We would be making them break the law for our sake. It is also our duty to respect those who are enforcing these laws. When they apply the law rightly, they are working for our welfare. We should help them in their task. It would be wrong to try to prevent them from carrying out their responsibilities. Obeying all the rules is not always easy. At times, we have to control ourselves. We may feel like talking during the school assembly or playing in class. We may want to run about in the school bus. We may enjoy sliding down the railing of the stairs. But for our own good, we are forbidden to do these things. Obeying these rules when we are young makes it easier for us to obey the bigger laws when we are grown up. In 1923, when Gandhiji was in jail, his wife Kasturba came to visit him. The jail had a rule that inmates could talk to their visitors only in the presence in the presence of a guard. This law was made to prevent criminals in prison helping criminals outside to do even more harm in the society. The warden left Gandhiji and his wife to speak in private. When he returned after a while, he found them waiting in silence. He asked them, "Why are you not talking?" Gandhiji replied, "We are only following your rules." This is perfect respect for the law. It is very common among people to obey the law only because they are compelled to do so. This should not be our attitude. Laws are made for our own good. If we disobey them, we are creating problems for others and for ourselves, and wasting the resources of our society. We have to obey laws whether people see us or not. Exercise 1. Answer the following questions. A. What is authority? B. Who has authority to make laws? C. What would happen if there was no laws? D. Why are laws made? E. What would happen if no one were to obey the laws? F. Why were Gandhiji and Kasturba waiting without talking to each other? D. What was Gandhiji's reply when the guard asked him the reason for their silence? H. Should we obey laws only when we are compelled to something to do? Each student writes down from memory as many rules of the school he can remember. Read them out in the class. 5. Something to think about. It is not always easy to obey all the rules I am given, but rules to make life easier and happier for everyone. Chapter 16. Courage. Courage is the readiness or the strength to face difficulties. It helps people to do things better even when it is difficult or painful. Doing small things with courage can help us to be courageous when we need to do greater things. In 1965, Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia climbed Mount Everest. The same year, in the Indo-Pakistan War, he received injuries to his spine. He had to spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. Undefeated, the Major joined the Central Service in 1968. He retired in 1994 as Additional Director General in the Ministry of Defense. The same year, he decided to make a journey along the ancient Silk Route, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, China, Nepal, and back to India. This trip was broadcast by Discovery Channel in 5 episodes. He has won numerous awards for his books. He continues to give enormous help to people with serious spine injuries like his own. In July 2004, Uddhav Das took 6.5-year-old daughter Swapna on his shoulders and walked 12 kilometers through water to reach dry land at
Dhamandhama in Assam. Sapna had right. Sapna had high fever and her father wanted to take her to Guwahati for treatment. There was a flood. Sapna's parents first hired a handcart and placed her in it to keep her out of the water. When the water became too deep, they got a chair and put it on the handcart. Finally, he had to make her sit on his shoulders, and he pushed his way through the rising water. He took 2 hours for the final 4 kilometers. On September 5, 1986, an aeroplane took off from Mumbai to fly to USA with 394 passengers on board. The flight landed at Karachi for a 1-hour stop. 23-year-old Neerja Banot was welcoming the passengers aboard. She noticed 4 people who were heavily armed. They hijacked the plane. She hid the passports of all the passengers since the hijackers said that they wanted all the Americans. Without the passports, no one knew what countries they came from. Neerja thus saved the lives of 44 Americans on board. She even helped some of the passengers to escape. The hijackers realized that their mission had partly failed because of her, so they shot her 4 times. In her memory, Neerja's family gives every year 2 hours of rupees 7 lakh each of 2 persons who show courage as Neerja did. These are examples of people who faced difficult situations with extraordinary courage. Every human being has problems. Overcoming them depends on how courageously we face these problems. We do not suddenly become very courageous in very difficult situations. Our courage grows a little at a time. If we are courageous to do the right thing at all times, we build our capacity to face greater dangers. It is not easy to be good always. Sometimes it takes courage to help our friends even in small things. It takes courage not to copy in examinations when we are afraid of failing. It takes courage to tell the truth when we may be punished for what we have done. It takes courage to sacrifice an ice cream in order to give the money to some poor person. It takes courage to admit a mistake we have made. But if we do little things like this without fear, we get the courage even in difficult moments to do what we enough to do. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. What is courage? B. What does courage help us to do? C. Why can Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia be considered a great man? D. What courageous did Uddhav Das do? E. Why did the hijackers shoot Neerja Banot? F. How can we develop our capacity to be courageous? G. Give examples of simple acts of courage that you can do. Something to do. Students share incidents from their own life where they had to use courage. Something to think about. I will show courage in little things so that I can be courageous in great things when the need arises. Chapter 17. Self-control. Self-control means doing what we ought to do at all times and not doing what we ought not to do. Without waiting for orders from anyone, self-control is not very common. Many people do the right thing only because they are afraid to being punished if they don't. At times, they do what is wrong because no one is there to see them do it. People with self-control is not depends only on the opinion of other people. They guide their own actions. They decide for themselves what is good and bad, and what they will do and will not do. People with no self-control often make mistakes. Such people are like little children. They always need others to guide them. They need others to decide for them what to do and what not to do. Depending too much on others can be dangerous. Wrong guidance can make them do what is wrong. They then get punished, even though they blame others for the wrong they have done. As we grow up, it is important to learn from our parents, teachers, and religious leaders what is good and bad. When we are adults, we cannot depend on others to tell us always what to do and what to avoid. No one may force us to act one way or another. We have to make choice on our own. We will even have to make choice for other people who depends on us. We must know for ourselves what is right, and we must have the courage to do what is right. When we are not sure whether something is good or bad, it is not enough to ask a friend of ours for his opinion. Most of our friends are only as old as we are, and they do not know much more than we do. Our parents and teachers are the people we opt to talk to on such matters. They will give us the correct guidance. We must also develop our willpower, so that we can have enough self-control to act according to the right knowledge we have acquired. Little acts of self-control when we are young prepare us for great acts of self-control when we needed them in our later life. Some acts of self-control right now might be to wait patiently for the teacher in class, even when he is late and we feel like playing around, not to copy from our books or our companions during tests and examinations, even though our teacher does not notice us, not to use angry or hurtful words when a classmate harms us in some way, not to take the belongings of others even if no one sees us doing it, to do my homework before I watch the television even when there is a cricket match going on. You can think of many other occasions like this when you can use your self-control. Do the right thing in such matters right now, and you will be strong enough to do the right thing in much more important matters when you are older. Exercise. Answer the following questions. A. Describe the behavior of someone who has self-control. B. Why is it dangerous to depend too much on guidance from others? C. Why do people with self-control do what is right? D. What should we do when we are not sure what is right or wrong? E. What are the two things we need in order to do always only what is right? F. Give some examples of times when we need self-control. 2. Something to do. Write yes or no against each of the following statements. A. I always do what I ought to do. B. I keep discipline in my class even when my teacher is absent. C. I do not need my parents to tell me daily to keep my room tidy. D. I decide when I should do my homework. E. I do not shout when I am angry or upset. F. I sit in the correct way while reading or writing. 3. Something to think about. If I can make myself always do what is right, I have become the master of myself. and I never needed to be afraid of any punishment. Chapter 18. Acts of Pride. Once there was a flock of swans that lived near the sea. In a nearby town there was a flock of crows. The leader of the crows was very proud to his flying skill. He was very envious of the swans. The vain crow flies to the leader of the swans and said, "Do you know who I am? I am the king of the crows, and I know 100 ways of flight. I can fly high, I can fly low, I can fly straight up or straight down, and even sideways. I challenge you to compete with me in any manner of flight." The swan said nothing at all. He only smiled at the crow. The vain crow thought that the swan was stupid. The crow then cawed aloud. Caw, caw, crack, crow, caw. He took off into the air. He circled and dived, plow sideways and in jerks. He flew straight up into the sky, folded his wings and dropped down like a stone, only to spread his wings again at the last moment and fly off again. The swan watched all this display with a smile on his face. At last the crow landed before the swan and said, "Did you see? Can you fly like that? I can beat you anytime, anywhere, and any kind of flight." The swan went on smiling at the crow. He said, "My dear crow, I know only one way of flight, and that is straight ahead of me. Come, let us compete in that." So saying, the swan flew straight out over the sea. The crow followed. On flew the swan with the crows at his wings. They flew for an hour, and the swan gave no sign of turning back. He just kept flying steadily on. The crow now began to feel tired, but he could not admit this, and he flew on. At last, he could fly no longer, and he looked for a place to land. But there was only the sea and no land. As far as he could see, he grew afraid as he started losing height and sank towards the sea. Soon his wings were touching the sea from time to time, and he knew he was going to die. The swan then said, "Brother, are you playing with me? Are you playing with the waves?" The crow realized then that he had been a fool. His pride was leading him to his death. He looked at the swan and said, "Sir, please help me, or I shall drown in the sea." The swan took pity on him, placed him on his back, and flew back safely to shore. It is right said, pride leads to a fall. Only foolish people go around boasting all the time for themselves, their family, and all that they can do. Truly great people do not need to show off. Everyone can see their greatness. Pride and vanity may make us do things that are dangerous for ourselves and for others. We should know our talents. We can be proud of them, but we also know our weaknesses and our limits. We admit our mistakes. We see the talents of others and praise them for their achievements. This type of honesty gives us success and brings us joy. Exercise. Answer the following questions. Why did the crow challenge the swan to a competition? B. What happened to the crow as they flew out over the sea? C. How did the swan save the crow? D. Do truly great people need to boast? E. What does vanity make us do? Which of the following are wrong? A. Pride in our country. B. Making fun of the color of someone's skin. C. Telling everyone about the mistake a friend has made. D. Being proud of my family's language and religion. Laughing at someone's clothes. Boasting to everyone about the size of my house. Speaking to everyone about my best teacher. Something to do. Write down the good qualities of your brother or sister and give the list of him. 5. Something to think about. Everyone has good qualities and weaknesses. I also have my success and failures. Chapter 19. You are unique. Nabi, who lives in East End of London, has spent thousands of pounds having surgery of various kinds so as to look more like Michael Jackson, the singer. He dedicated 17 of the 32 years of his life to following his idol. Vivek Oberoi, the actor, once said, "We must break free of all barriers and dare to be our own self. In the final analysis, it is only those people who accept you for who you are that matter." Sachin Tendulkar gave the following tip to his admirers. You have to be true to yourself. Do not attempt shortcuts. Accept challenge. Otherwise, you won't ever be a top cricketer. It is common for young people to want to be like their heroes or friends. Look at and observe the people around you. No two persons are the same. God made every human being different from all the others. One person's looks, talents, behaviors, way of talking and thinking are not the same as any other person's. We are not exactly the same as our own brothers and sisters. This is the uniqueness of all human beings. To be unique is to be different from all others or being just one of our kind. Some people feel ashamed because they cannot do something as well as someone else. They think, I am not beautiful as that actress, or I cannot sing as my mother does, or I cannot dance like my classmates, or I cannot speak as my teacher does, etc. We should not feel bad because we cannot do things others can do. We are good in other things that our friends cannot do. We need not feel shy about our looks, our abilities, or our weaknesses. We need not refuse to do something because we cannot do it as well as someone else can. Trying to be like someone else is foolish. God does not want us to be like anyone else. He wants us to be the best we can be with what He has given us. It is good to be always what we are. God made everyone good at something or other. Albert Einstein failed in school as a boy. His teacher told him that he would never accomplish anything great in life. But when he grew up, Einstein became the greatest scientist of the 20th century. People used to make fun of the ears of Mahatma Gandhi because they were very large. He did not hide himself away, ashamed of his ears. He did well whatever he could, and he became the father of the nation. It is a waste of time to envy what other people can do. It is equally a waste of time to talk all the time about what we can do better than others. There was a Jewish saint named Jesse who was close to his death. His friends saw that he was afraid. They asked him, "Master, why are you afraid? Are you afraid God will ask you why you were not great like Musa or Ibrahim?" "No," he replied. "God will not ask me that, but he will ask me, why were you not a great Jesse? Why did you not use better the gifts I gave you as Jesse and become as great as you could have?" I am afraid I do not have a good answer to that. We need not be like Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi to become great. They had different gifts from God. They lived at a different time and in a different place. We have our own talents. That what God wants from us is to use these gifts in the best ways and the best way possible to do the maximum in our own place and time. It is alright to have heroes and models, but we should not try to be exactly like them. We should become the maximum we can be in our own way. Let us discover ourselves and be ourselves. Exercise. What is uniqueness? What did the teacher tell Einstein when he failed in school? Why did people make fun of Mahatma Gandhi? Should we be ashamed because we cannot do something as well as others can? Should we boast because we can do something better than others? Do we need to be like Mother Teresa or Mahatma Gandhi in order to be great? Are the following sentences true or false? A. No two persons are exactly the same. B. One should be ashamed of thinking differently from others. C. To be unique means to be different from everyone else. D. God made me good for nothing. E. I should not laugh at others if they do not do things as I do them. 3. Something to do. Make a uniqueness inventory. Write the name of every student on the checkboard. Involve the class in writing against every student's name something good that is unique or very special about him. Something to think about. Everyone is different and very special. I am very special. There is no one else exactly like me in the whole world. End of chapter 5. Lessons for living. Schedule of applications. 011-2574-8941. New Delhi 110060. Read by Hassan Zaman Malik. 21st of February 2014.